Godbrand is dead. Carmilla is scheming. Our hero's in a basement. And we're your hosts here after a long week break with episode 5 and 6, Castlevania Season 2.
Yes. It's been a while. I was sick, then you were sick, and now we're here.
And now it's winter.
Long after the fact. But still, we had to get our thoughts. This was when, you know how earlier you're like, it's having a slow burn, but I'm liking the burn. This is when I'm like, okay, I've had my burn. Let's get out of the damn library.
I agree.
This is where I felt.
Episode 5 was very much like, it's like, okay, it's like, yeah, there's still some nice character moments in this episode, and we get a little bit more here and there with everybody, but it's like, okay, guys, we need to push this along. It's probably the most unnecessary episode out of the mix.
If one could get cut, I'd say this would be the one.
I would say this is the one. There are some things that happen in this episode that are essential.
But you could have easily spliced them into the others.
I think the better idea would have been to have episode 4 a little bit longer and then episode 6 a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Split this material.
I think that would have been best. Because earlier we had that nice interaction between Trevor and Sypha. This one, we had a decent interaction between Alucard and Sypha, but still, you could have easily spliced that in.
Yeah,
in the previous
this is some stuff in the library with our main characters could have definitely been placed elsewhere. And then we have the machinations of Carmilla, you know, and her
scheming, and we finally see like
scheming.
What she's up to.
Yeah.
She has an army.
She has an army. And, you know, she's fully ready to fuck over Dracula.
Yeah.
You know? So these are nice moments. But I do agree, I don't think we needed a full episode to explore him.
It seemed like Dracula shared our sentiment, because this was the episode where he's like, fine, move the castle,
Exactly.
do something. I'm trying to kill myself, what's your excuse? That's just what I got out of it.
It's funny, too, because, you know, I almost feel like we have had, you know, 4 episodes now where we know that Dracula's a badass, but he's been so exhausted and so tired and so brooding. It's like, oh, well, this is me in my younger days. They have this flashback to his younger days where he like almost single-handedly slaughters this town, and it's a fantastic scene.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's only there because, oh, we have this extra length of episode with episode 5.
Yep.
And it's just like, yeah, at this point, it's like, we need to do something with Dracula, otherwise it's just like, he's been sitting in a chair the entire season.
He's been in a chair, Carmilla's been plotting, and like her plan's about to finally go into action. Isaac and Hector have been arguing, more or less, and our heroes are still in the damn library.
They're still in the library.
Which, they stopped throwing nostalgic throwbacks at us, so I'm just like, okay, this is just a library, get out! Journey, damn you!
Well, I mean, again, this is very much stuff that should have been placed in the other 2 episodes. We've established that. And I think the most important things to note really in this episode, at least, you know, we had some funny character interactions between our heroes, which is always good.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I've very much enjoyed our main characters at this point. But I mean, plot-wise, like, the most important things here are Carmilla has her army.
Yeah.
We're moving the castle to Brayla, and
right at the very end, they find that lock spell.
They find the lock spell.
Yeah.
Sypha finds the lock spell, and
just in time too, because
everybody
we
has
got beasts knocking.
The beast knocking at the door.
An army of Castlevania bosses lined up to be like, "Hey, we want our time."
It was like, here is our complaint from season 1, and they were like, okay, here's a ton of Castlevania monsters for you, all at once. Stay tuned. Next episode. And we were like, finally.
And just to reiterate, like, I wouldn't say this is bad. This is just definitely the weakest part of the series and the season, to where it's just like, okay, I get what you're doing. You've established this. You got to get moving.
Undoubtedly. But at the end of the day, like, we call this the weakest link of the season. But at the same time, the good thing about this show is that it's a very solid show.
Yeah.
So even though it is the weakest episode out of it all, it's not like a terrible fucking show.
No, it's not
that's just
bad. It's just
hard
like,
to sit through.
If you'd have to pick a weaker part looking back, it's just like, this is where...
This is the one that stands out.
It overstays its welcome.
Yeah.
That's basically where it gets at.
I definitely would have separated episode 5 into 6.
That's a good idea.
4. But, you know, hey, we have what we have. It's still an enjoyable episode, but it's so that here we are lumping it.
There's even like a forced penis joke that I was just okay.
That's such a
spell the penises. It's just like, okay, so
I hate to say it, it's a Warren Ellis thing.
Okay.
He likes his dirty goo or something.
Oh, okay. Like sometimes it hits. This was the one where I was just like, you know,
This episode is so we're lumping it in with episode 6. So, let's talk about episode 6, where shit starts happening finally.
And Trevor, like, really shines. He takes on,
God,
like, what I don't know if it's a behemoth or a minotaur. I'd say minotaur because it's, like, more,
minotaur.
But it doesn't have the axe.
Well,
but, like,
you know what, though? He's huge.
Bull-like monster.
He's got horns and whatnot, so there's definitely a minotaur.
Yeah.
This bird-like creature that I think might be, like, a Malphus.
Either Malphus or the Crow Witch. Because I saw the mask, like the skull,
they
I
look
immediately
like
thought of the Crow Witch.
So, and then, what was the other one?
There was some kind of like satyr thing, because it had like this skull, but it had like horns, and it fought with a spear.
Okay, you know what it reminded me of?
What?
You don't know because you haven't played Lords of Shadow 2.
No.
I'm sorry. But there is a boss section, and it's probably the most memorable part of Lords of Shadow 2.
Okay.
He reminds me of him in terms of design. Not in terms of character, but in terms of design.
All right.
So, yeah, I think it's definitely the satyr route. I think you're right on that.
All right.
But it's like finally we get to see, you know, some big Castlevania monsters coming to the fray, and
it was good
Trevor's
to see
just shining with this fight scene. You really see this nice combination of choreography with the whip work and the sword work, while Sypha's using the lock spell.
Yeah, she's using the. What's Alucard doing?
Isn't Alucard protecting Sypha?
From what?
I don't know. Hold on.
Trevor's protecting both of them.
Here's the problem.
I'm trying to think.
We also haven't watched the show in over a week. So we're working off of notes. Okay. Fuck, maybe he's helping him fight. I don't know.
No, he's not. He's not helping with the fight. He's doing something with Sypha.
He's got to be doing something with Sypha because...
Maybe he's operating the mirror because he knows the mirror.
Okay,
and she's
you're right,
operating the spell.
He had to fix the mirror.
Okay.
He has to fix the mirror, and he's recarving the symbols and whatnot so that the mirror will work. Because in the reverse of that, Dracula has we'll just call it the Mirror of Fate because
might as well. That's how people would know it.
But Dracula's got his own Mirror of Fate, and he knows all the symbols and whatnot. You know, so it makes sense that Alucard would know them enough to repair the one that's been in the Belmont library.
Yeah.
So that's what he's doing.
Okay.
So while they're prepping all this, and we have these great, you know, scene choreography, and we really get an understanding of what the Morning Star.
Yeah, the Morning Star in action.
I want to call it the Vampire Killer, but he calls it the Morning Star.
He calls it the Morning Star.
So we got to roll with that. So you know, we got some really great, you know, fight choreography there. But then on top of that, we also have what's going on with Dracula's forces as they move to Brayla.
Yep.
So they show up. And they start crossing this bridge, and then you realize, like, the castles, or not the castle, the town is already, like, organized with some kind of soldiers.
Yeah.
And then you start looking at them, and you realize that they're Carmilla's forces. They're all vampires, too. And there's this moment that I'm a little apprehensive about that happens.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know where I'm going. Okay, so...
It's everyone's favorite character, come back from the dead.
The priest from Season 1, the bishop, excuse me.
The Bishop of Gresham.
He comes back, resurrected by Hector's Devil Forge Master. Okay? And they use him to bless the waters.
And turn it into holy water.
To turn it into holy water. And on one hand, I watched this episode twice, okay? The first time I watch it, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's an awesome moment where Carmilla's forces destroy the bridge. All of Dracula's forces, they fall into the river with the exception of the nameless generals who casually jump back into the castle. They L1 that bitch and go right back into the castle.
Yep.
All the forces fall into the water.
Yep.
And they all burn and they die.
Yes.
And it's just an awesome moment.
And Hector realizes that, oh, I can't go back to Dracula's forces.
I can't go
I'm
back
in
to
too deep
Dracula.
now.
Exactly. And it's just this awesome moment to see happen.
Mm-hmm.
I have problems with it upon my second viewing because they established way back in one of the earlier episodes, I think it may have even been in episode 1, that running water was enough to kill a vampire.
Yeah.
It didn't need to be blessed into holy water. And they kind of had this argument going back and forth, but I thought that was enough.
Right.
Was the running water. Because that's why, like, in the novel, Dracula needed transported across the sea.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he couldn't just go himself.
Exactly.
He can't swim.
No.
He needed transported across the sea while he slept in boxes of earth.
Yes.
In the Hammer horror films, running water killed Dracula.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's like, it's not an uncommon thing in the vampire myth for running water to be a purifying thing.
And to add to that, what do we know of the bishop from his death?
And that's the big thing that bugs me about
the demon
this.
states that God's abandoned
God
you.
has abandoned him because he is a dick. So how in God's name is a resurrected evil SOB capable of purifying a river?
I agree with you on that.
It's a
Visually,
weird
it's cool,
plot
but
point.
don't think about it.
It is a weird plot point, and it sticks out so much in this season. It is so strange to me. It is an awesome friggin' moment, especially once, you know, Sypha starts using the lock spell, or the transportation spell, to move the castle, and, you know, it starts, it shifts
and it, like,
further
blows
in,
up
and
the
more
town.
water ends, more water ends up coming in. It's like an awesome thing, but I'm sitting there, and it just bugs the hell out of me. It is such an odd scene.
I can, like I said before, when you look at it, I'm just like, this is cool. When you think about it, it's
awesome.
like, whoops.
And then you think about it, it's like, what happened?
It's like, how does Eddie, like Carmilla said, what the just happened?
What the fuck just happened? And it's absolutely right. But it, all the same though, it's just like, at this point, we're so swept up in the action, like, I'm like, whatever, it's such a little thing.
Because so much is happening, and this is spliced in cleverly between Trevor laying down on all these classic monsters. So I'm geeking out.
I'm not thinking all this. And all of our hopes and dreams of what the hell they could do with this evil bishop that they built up in season 1 and killed off, all of our
Shaft.
You know, our Shaft ideas and all these other
it kind of just results
just
in
like,
this.
Nope, this is what we were planning, guys. This very strange plot point. But it's okay because it'll look awesome. Which it does. And they start, and when Sypha starts, and look at me, I'm just so energetic about this. It's just like I don't even care too much. But it's like she starts using the spell to transport the castle, and it's just because the castle's fighting back. And it just starts destroying the town. It's really like, what the fuck just happened? It's awesome. Wait, what else happened in this episode? That's pretty much else, yeah.
Trevor's fighting monsters, and I mean, there's enough screen time to make every fight interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, he's fighting the Behemoth, he's the Minotaur, he's fighting the Satyr, Lords of Shadow 2 thing, he's fighting the Crow Witch, he's fighting like something like bat-like, but it's like huge and hulking, and it's chasing him.
I think the biggest thing that we can say is that, you know, at this point, all the investment from the last several episodes is coming to play.
Yeah.
And at this point, we're so hyped up about, you know, everything. It's like we're rushing into the end. You know.
And we got 2 episodes left.
We got 2 episodes left. So at this point, the castle is on top of the library.
Yep.
Sypha's grand design of moving into the library, and our heroes are ready to confront Dracula, as Carmilla and Hector have been left behind purposefully in Brela with Carmilla's forces. Well, some of them. A lot of them were fighting in the castle with the remainders of Dracula's. But we're coming into episode 7, my personal favorite of the season, and maybe Warren's too.
Maybe. We shall see.
We'll see.
2 episodes to go.
Next
see you then.
Godbrand is dead. Carmilla! Doing shit. I forgot what I was saying. It's okay. Keep recording. Give me a second.